Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast bud.
What's up, gang? Welcome to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready, it's a new day. And I just want to have casual conversation today with you. I want to speak to you, with you, come into your house, to your earphones, to your car, wherever you're listening to this from, and talk to you about the importance of self-care and managing your personal life. Underestimated, I feel, is this subject. And you've heard me probably say a gazillion times that inward growth precedes outward growth, external growth. I also think that, and especially with social media and stuff, and one of the hurdles I've had to get over as I have, been blessed with helping more people is dealing with, quote, haters and, people that don't have positive things to say about you, and how are you going to allow that to impact your life at all? And fighting through my emotions and thoughts with that is man, what I really learned is I think the person and the people that talk the most mess about you is yourself. Your own self-talk, your own self-care, taking care of yourself. People get so focused on the job, that's what you do versus who they are. Who you are and what you do are two different things. Nowadays in the world, people ask you, what is it that, what do you do? And it almost kind of starts to become, who you are. But what you do and who you are two different things. And so I think a part of people is they start to focus so much on what they do that they forget to take care of who they are, of the person themselves. And in the neglect of themselves, taking care of themselves, trying to pursue what they do, they lose a sense of themselves, and then they end up getting either frustrated and led astray by people that are not positive influences in their life because they're just looking for a release. They're looking for an outlet, and all good things are not God things. All people that are fun and cool to hang around may not be what's best for you, but people don't have any other stress relief, and they're not paying attention to what's really going on in their mind. So they veer towards something to take the stress away, and it may be with the wrong crowd, or they turn to drugs, alcohol, things that are negative on them to relieve the stress of their life, of where they are, because they're not taking care of themselves. And so think about where you're at right now. How well are you taking care of yourself? Like, man, I remember my mom and I, we had the most embarrassing cars growing up. I remember a Chevette, all like blue with a red steering wheel in the club. So nobody would steal that one because they stole multiple cars out of our driveway. We had a couple beat up cars that I can remember, and maybe a Pinto. And then I remember maybe 10, 11, my grandmother gave us her Honda that was like 11 years old, but that was her baby. I mean, she didn't have a spot on it. She was that typical lady that everybody wishes they could buy a car from, a used car from. I mean, she just took care of it to a level that most people don't take care of cars. And like it was her only car, but it wasn't going to be her only car. She would end up owning more cars. Your life and your body is the only life and body you're going to have. So why would you not take care of your body and yourself as well as you would take care of a nice car? And I know a lot of people that take better care of their sports cards and their cars than they do themselves. And it's the only body that you're going to have. It's the only life that this is what you have to manage. And to be blessed with more, you got to show that you could handle what you've been given. And we have a creator, in my personal opinion, and our creator gave us this life. And it's like, what are you doing with the life that I gave you before I bless you with more life? Before I bless you with a bunch of other people that you can impact and things that you can impact. It's how well are you taking care of yourself? And so when you look at how are you taking care of yourself, start out with like, are you getting rest? 8 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep. Are you resting properly? If you're not, have you just said, well, I don't sleep well, or I'm a night owl, or I'm this, versus taking control and not speaking things into your life that is just really weakness and excuses. Food, nutrition, it's no big deal, this and that. You research it, and the things that you put in your body, you ever hear the term, you are what you eat? Well, your cells and your makeup and everything in your body starts to become the things, it's like, what did you eat? They become a part of you. And it fuels you. Let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. Like it fuels you. And so many people don't fuel themselves. They think they're tired. And it's really just because they're not eating properly and they're eating bad food. And so it's making them tired. So they pump more caffeine to themselves. And then that leads to one thing and leads to the next thing and leads to the next thing. And so food, nutrition, exercise. I mean, I think that's a must, exercising for your health, but more so for your mind. And people run from this. You don't have to be a power lifter, but some form of exercise to keep yourself healthy is something that should be a part of your daily routine, your weekly routine of taking care of yourself, because it allows you to relieve stress in a healthy way. Because if you don't relieve stress in a healthy way, you're going to relieve stress in an unhealthy way. And you may have a lot of other people fooled, but you can't fool yourself. And I've seen it all, a lot, not all, but I've seen a lot. And really I've learned that if people don't have a healthy stress outlet, they could be a good sneak, but they're doing something to relieve that stress somewhere that's not positive if they don't have a positive outlet. And so massages is another one. It's like, man, my routine is, you look at it, it's like, well, he's getting massages. Oh, he just wants somebody to pamper him and take care of him. And, it's like, that ain't the reason why I'm getting a massage. It's one of the only things that could sit myself down and force me to like lay there for an hour, 2 hours, hour and a half, because I'm always on the go. And so it forces me to breathe and relax. And, as I age, I'm staying super active. And so I need to recover. I need my body to recover and be up on top of what is this ache, what is this pain from week to week versus waiting until there's a mass explosion because this is the only body that they gave me. Why not go get a tune-up? Why not take care of your car, consistently? And then, just a stress reliever, really to get you to relieve some stress. And so maybe that's one thing for you. Massages, taking care of your spirit, is a part of your self-care. What are you doing to enrich your soul and your spirit inside? Maybe do a little bit of thinking on what could you do to put more time into growing your spirit. Because when your body goes, your spirit don't go. And, it's like a lot of times people if they're not a neglector of their body, then they do focus on their body and they eat clean and they exercise, but they neglect everything else. And I call that big man on the outside, little man on the inside. And so they're not really working on their mind. They're not working on their heart. They're not working on their soul. They're the internal things. And as much as you work on yourself, your just body's going to get older. Your body's going to break down over time. Your body's going to age, and it has a limit. And usually your peak years of like athletics is like teens and 20s. And then there's a bell curve that kind of goes down, from there to 50s, 60s, 70s. But on the internal side of developing yourself and taking care of yourself, that actually can go up and get better with your age, where you should be having more growth at 40 than you were at 20, and looking better at 60 internally than you did at 20 if you pour into yourself in these areas. Another thing for self-care is motivation. How do you stay motivated? Keeping your why visible. Why are you doing what it is that you're doing? What is your mission? What is your reason for that mission? Visible to you. And listening to things intentionally. This is a big one. Like, what are you listening to? What are you putting in your mind? What are you putting in your ears? Like, if all you listen to is what the world is putting into you, the news, you're going to be down. You're going to be negative, because the news is typically only telling you what blew up around the world and not all the people that got saved today. And so you have to intentionally put positive things into your mind. So like motivation, go to YouTube, go to get people's podcasts and constantly be listening to things that are going to keep you motivated. And maybe the biggest one out of all of them is check the circle that you're hanging around. There's lifters and there's leaners. Are you rolling with people that are leaners that are bringing you down? Or are you rolling with people that are lifters that are bringing you up? I forget the quote, but I think I remember hearing somebody say that, people are like elevators. They could take you up or they could take you down. You know who you're around that makes you do things you shouldn't be doing and makes you feel things that aren't positive. Just cut those people out of your life. Family members, friends, don't matter. Just cut those people out of your life. If they are negative and bringing you down, you have to be strong enough to cut those people out of your life. If it was easy, I wouldn't even be bringing it up. It's not easy to do, especially it's not easy to do if you're a good person to cut negative people out of your life, because you always want to help everybody. But understand, you can't help anybody if you can't help yourself. So if we're talking about self-care, the best way to be unselfish to help others is to take care of yourself and to take care of you, so then you could better serve other people. And so yours may be all different types of things. What is your way that you need to take care of yourself? Yours may be counseling, consistent counseling, therapy. I think people, that brings a negative connotation also of, man, if I tell you I got a personal boxing coach, personal jiu-jitsu coach, nobody questions it. They think it's awesome. If I tell you I got a personal trainer to get me in better fitness, great. Man, people think that's amazing. As soon as you say, or you got a dietitian, great. Soon as you get, you can get a pastor. I spend time with this one. They help me on my spirit. No problem. As soon as you say you have a mental coach, you're embarrassed and people think something's wrong with you. You gotta be strong enough. I mean, nobody really needs to know your business, but you got to be strong enough to not even care if people know your business. I think if you could have a spiritual coach, you could have a physical coach, why can't you have a mental coach? And so if you need a mental coach, if you need somebody to talk to, especially somebody that is more introverted and don't talk to people, like they don't let their problems out, they don't tell somebody. I feel what I've learned is everybody needs somebody to tell their problems to. You may think you're a dog and you don't, but sooner or later you're going to crash. Something's going to happen. Everybody needs at least one person that they could give things to, vent to, and get help sorting through things that are going on in their mind. And so, if that's you and you don't have anybody, make sure you're seeking out somebody and investing the time and money, whatever, into getting I call it more of a mental coach than a counselor, but, get one. Sun. Maybe you need sun. Maybe you need vacations, planning those, around whatever's going to bring you life. You got to look at yourself as an athlete. An athlete plays a game, but really anybody that's a professional athlete will also tell you how important it is to recover. And part of the recovery process, be it stretching, eating the right things, ice baths, sauna, hot tub, massages, all these things to get them ready to play the game again. And like in college, it was like mandatory. We had to go to the training room to get stuff worked on. In your life, you need recovery like an athlete needs recovery. What is your recovery routine to get your body right, to get your mind right, to get your spirit right? Are you saying that you don't have time? You can't not have time. You got to make the time for yourself, because whoever and whatever you're pursuing and trying to give your energy to, that thing and those people will actually be hurt by you not taking care of yourself. And so personal life management, schedule, and I could probably do a whole nother one just on this one, but personal life management, other than self-care, scheduling. There's a 20-minute segment I need to run on. So I think maybe I'm going to blow through this one, and then I want to do another one just on personal life management. But, managing your personal life, you got to live by a schedule. If you're going to be busy, if you're going to do big things, you're going to be busy. If you're going to be busy, it's hard to stay organized and sane if you don't live by a schedule that you could look at. Toxic people, removing toxic people in order to manage your personal life properly. Looking at your relationships. Who are your people that you have relationships with? Who do you think you need to have relationships with? Drugs, alcohol. What's your relationship with those things? Are you doing? And I don't judge. I don't judge. There's hardcore drugs, and then there's recreational drugs. There's places where marijuana is legal. There's places where it's not legal. You can have a beer, but you can't do that. And, it's like, all right, I get it. There's a difference between having a beer and the beer having you. And so, how is your relationship with drugs, alcohol, things of that nature? And because that'll play a bigger role than you think in your personal life. Drugs and alcohol I've watched get the best of people. And the biggest mistake I could see when that happens to people goes back to people not telling anybody. Instead of telling a friend, letting somebody know I'm struggling, they keep it to themselves and they're embarrassed, and then their personal life breaks down. Late nights. Early to bed, early to rise makes one healthy, wealthy, and wise. And so if you do the opposite, typically, not always, but the opposite is true for you. And so personal life management, I think you need to look at, when are you going to bed? What time are you getting up in the morning? You should have a set routine, and nothing really good is happening past midnight too long. Anytime there's major problems, I start asking people, what time did that happen? A lot of times it happens after midnight. Drama, don't bring drama, avoid drama. Who are you hanging around? People you're hanging around, because at the end of the day, you can't escape what you do. And like what's going on in your personal life. You can't escape it. And a lot of that is dictated by who you're hanging around and the people that you're hanging around. So it's like people try to say, I'm going to just be good in business, but then outside of the business, I'm going to run wild. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to be on time to work, and I'm going to do everything I need to do in business. But then I'm going to run wild in my personal life and have unhealthy relationships. And sooner or later, your personal life will show symptoms in your business life. There's no way around it. Sooner or later, personal life will blend into whatever it is that you're trying to do, business life. You can't separate the two. They end up blending together. And so I'll go a little bit deeper, on that one. But, check your personal life, people you're hanging around, things that you're doing, times you're going to bed, times you're getting up, healthy habits, scheduling, to organize yourself so you're not as stressed and you're acting like a professional. All of those things would help you. And so I know this one isn't quite, let me run through a wall, let me bust a door down motivation for you. But if you could implement some of these things, hopefully it's another deposit in your growth, in your journey of growth, because I'm grateful that you would invest time today, 20 minutes with me to think that I can impact your life. And I don't take that lightly. Anybody that is looking for mentorship or guidance, have them check out cashmoneymentoring.com and see if we could help them and serve them. Feel free to share this podcast with people that you think we can impact and help fulfill our mission to impact more people. And thanks for joining us on another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day.